So a large-scale genome-wide association study has thrown doubt on the idea that there is a genetic cause for homosexuality. And it was believed for a long time that there was a gay gene, and that's been part of the lexicon. We've been talking about that for many years as we've been trying to figure out what makes people gay. And so this study, while it does not rule out the idea that genetics do not play any role, considering, of course, how identical twins, or just twins in general, are often both gay if one of them is gay. So there might be some basis for genetic reasons, but it shows that there isn't just one gene that you can isolate and say, well, the person has this gene and the person is going to be gay, in the same way that a person has blue eyes or black hair or anything else. And so this was talked about on a few pages, and really it's just showing that our understanding of it has become more nuanced. And it seems that when trying to figure out what makes people gay, there has always been sort of two camps. There's one camp that says it's a genetic thing, and then there's another camp that says it's a result of abuse, because in many cases of many gay people report that they were abused as children. And so, of course, you have your Stephen Andersons, you've got your bigots on the Christian right saying, well, it's just, it's something that's learned or it's forced on people, that no one is actually genetically, naturally gay. And then you have the other saying, well, I'm born this way, I can't help it, this is just who I am, I've never been able to change it. And so there's never been really a consensus. And so people have been looking at this science article and saying, this is it, this is just more proof that it's not inherent in anyone, but it's a learned behavior, or it's something that comes from being abused, or it's something that people get tricked into with soy products or anything else. Speaking of which, I've got my tofu right here. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But I think there's got to be a more nuanced answer, in the same way that, personally, I'm left-handed, right? I'm the only person in my family who is left-handed, and I have 4 brothers and a sister. I'm the only one who was born left-handed. And that's not genetic, but it is caused by something else. It's not something that I learned. Being left-handed, especially when I was younger, was a great disadvantage. I remember being forced to sit in these right-handed desks and not having to reach over with my pen. And then there are all sorts of other problems, like I do a lot of writing by hand. I wrote a 400-page novel by hand, and the whole time I had this black smear. And anyone who's left-handed can relate to this, because you're always going to brush up against your own writing. And while it doesn't erase it, it does get on the bottom part of your pinky here. And so it's been quite disadvantageous to be left-handed, and yet I don't think it has a genetic origin. The best explanation I've heard for it is that it has something to do with the way a woman's organs are arranged, and that most of us, the hand that we write with is the first thumb that we suck on when we're kids inside the womb. And so whatever reason, I think it's just the way the body is structured, the rib cage, the organs, and everything. Most children just reach for the right hand first, but there's anomaly, there's a chance that some of us are born in a certain way, or we develop in a certain way that we get the left hand stuck in our mouths first. And that makes a lot of sense. So I wonder if there is another explanation for what makes people homosexuals. The other thing is, I don't know if it is such inherently, it is something that can't be changed in the same way that eye color can't be changed, or your race can't be changed. Because there are many cases of people who are gay or were gay or switch from being straight to gay or bisexual to gay or anything else. And so there is some fluidity to it, and there is also circumstances. Of course, we all know the story of the soldiers out on the ship. They're all straight. They all go see prostitutes when they're back on shore. But when it's just them on the ship, of course, they do have some need for sexual activity. I remember a great Jasper Johns painting, I think, where it just had a drip of paint running down like a wooden plank, and it's supposed to represent how horny sailors would sometimes just take planks off the ship that had holes in them and screw them. So, and then also look at prisons. Look at how many straight men go to prisons and end up being gay, or whatever else. And I think child abuse does have effect. Boys who are abused by older men, rather than admitting to it and owning up to the fact that something horrible happened to them, they might just say, oh, well, I kind of wanted it. And so there are just so many factors behind what makes a person gay and what can change a person. And I'm not saying conversion therapy really works. I mean, there's a lot of evidence showing that conversion therapy is actually harmful. But at the same time, I don't think that anyone should think that their sexual orientation is permanent, or that it can't be changed either through circumstances or even on some level choice. But at the same time, it is a big decision to make. And I do think that there is something inherent in people that makes them gay or makes them straight. But it isn't something as profound or as strong as genetics, as something that can't be changed. And so look at the article yourself. Looking at the article after reading several articles about the article makes you realize that no, it isn't as simple as saying there is no genetic cause for being homosexual, but that we can't reduce it, we can't isolate it to just one gene, that it's probably a variety of factors, mostly environmental, but there might be some biological component to it, some genetic component to it. Notwithstanding the fact that, of course, it occurs within other animals in nature, even small animals like insects, that have been shown to exhibit gay behaviors, and lions and whatever. We can find gay behavior across the animal kingdom, so I don't know why humans should be restricted from that. But as we look at history, we look at Oscar Wilde and Alan Turing and many of these great figures who were condemned for that. I think that's just wrong. And so we need to build towards tolerance. I was listening to singer-songwriter music, and I was listening to some Sufjan Stevens this morning. I hadn't heard him for a while, but he's one of those Christian singers that I remember from college, that he was really big and everything, and we all loved him. And I was really shocked when I found out that he did a Pride album. But reading the comments on the song, I finally went through and listened to his Pride songs, seeing, well, he hasn't abandoned the Christianity either. It's just a matter of finding love and acceptance for all people, which is really what it's about. But the whole discussion about what the Bible says about homosexuality and whether you can justify it or not, that's a whole different story. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about this article and what it reveals to us as far as what makes a person gay, and for that matter, what makes a person straight. Over and out.